Good morning, my friends. Well, morning for us anyway. And welcome to the Space Game Junkie podcast. I, as always, am your co-host, Brian, and joining me, as always, is your co-host, Spaz.
And as always, brought to you by Never Enough Caffeine.
Oh, God. No, there's not enough. It is 6 a.m. in the morning where Spaz and I are in the Pacific time zone because our guests are in the Netherlands. Calling from the Netherlands to talk about Interstellar Rift is Jimmy Vandenberg and Alex Immerzale. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good morning. Happy to be
Good
here.
morning.
Yeah, we're happy to have you.
nice
Thank
to be
you.
here.
Yeah, thank you. We're happy to have you and to talk about your game. So, folks, if you don't know what Interstellar Rift is, it's been in early access for 2 or 3 years. Is that about right?
Oh, yeah, 3 years now.
Yeah.
3 years. Okay, wow. Yeah, time freaking flies. It's been in early access for a while. It just hit beta like a month or two ago. Roughly.
Yeah, last month.
Yeah, about a month ago. And it is basically, I mean, I'll let you guys describe, but just real quick, it is basically a space adventure game where you have more, like a lot of space adventure games, you have a ship, you do missions, that's really it. But here, there's a bit more like fiddling and managerial stuff with the ship itself. Like you actually have to manage your fuel, you have to actually manage your oxygen and stuff like that. And so the world rewards you accordingly because it knows you have to deal with those things. So, gentlemen, how would you describe your game in a nutshell, in like an elevator pitch? Because there's a lot to it. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, we usually describe it as an open world, like sandbox survival game where you build your own ship and like get your friends as your crew and then just like have adventures. That's like the elevator pitch. But when it comes down to it, it's more like spend a lot of time designing and building and micromanaging everything in your ship. Which I think is the strong point of the game. Just the feeling of ownership of your ship.
And I have to say one of the nice things about the game is that if you don't feel like building and micromanaging the hell out of it, you really don't have to. Because I don't have the patience. I personally don't have the patience for it. But so it's nice how like you can easily see how much fuel and stuff you have and just get the fuel and put it on your ship and not worry about it for a while. If you want, you could like fiddle with everything on your ship. I'm not kidding. Like everything can be fiddled with.
Yep.
But you don't have to, which is nice. Because I find a lot of games that involve building and crafting and stuff, they get a little, like they lean too much into the crafting, too much into the building, where it's so fiddly. It's so like, this is getting in the way of my fun. But you guys, I have to admit, have struck a really nice balance between, you're going to have to fiddle a little bit if you want to, but you don't have to fiddle with everything. Like if you just
we also wanted, if you look at like, you can mine the resources and stuff like that, but you can also get them from missions or just purchase them. We don't want to have like one path to keep doing that same thing over and over again. We want it to be like, have multiple paths to reach the same goal.
Exactly, which is actually really, really nice for someone like me who likes having multiple options and not all, and some of them more straightforward and less like crafty than others. Now, one thing I like about your game too is mining is a bit different. I've only played a few hours, so I haven't seen if there's like the more traditional mining beam you put on your ship. But I really like how in your game you go on a station and there's a mining station. And it's like, here's an asteroid, click it to mine it, and it beams the asteroid aboard. And then you see like a kind of a surgical thing moving around it and like hoovering the minerals out of it.
Pretty much.
Vacuuming the minerals out of it and putting them into these nice canisters for you. Which is unlike any other game I've seen when it comes to mining, really.
Yeah, we wanted a like kind of a different system, because a lot of these games, it's often like, okay, we sit in front of an asteroid, fire the beam, sit there for I don't know how many minutes, and then a rock pops out, and there you go, there's your resources. We kind of wanted to have wanted it to be more along the lines of, okay, we need these resources. Might as well just get the thing aboard and then have the machine do it. And then while it's doing that, you can do something else.
Yeah, I really like that. Like in the video I made, the tutorial has you doing all these things at once, basically, like get all these minerals and refine them and stuff. So like, I'm going to run to the mining thing and have it do this asteroid, then run back to the refiner and have it do these things, and then run. And it makes it more active than I'm used to in games like this, which is great, and it's very straightforward. It's not complicated at all. You guys have done a really impressive job making this easily understandable and very efficient for the player.
Thank you.
Which,
yeah,
go ahead.
I was going to say, explaining the game is one of the things we struggle most with. So that's one of the things we've been focusing on for the last, I think, year or something. Because if you had the early version of the game, it was really hard to figure out how to even play the game.
I agree. I was saying earlier before we started recording, folks, I've only done this one video. There's a preview video on the YouTube channel right now. That's the only one I've done, because when I played the game earlier when it was in alpha, I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what anything does. I have no idea if I'm doing anything right. I'm just going to let this sit. And yeah, now you guys have a whole separate tutorial that is about, half an hour to an hour long? Basically, that teaches
pretty long,
you. Yeah, it teaches you just about everything from mining to refining to navigation, to transit, to jumping from one system to another. It teaches you just about everything, which is great.
Really helpful.
Yeah, so helpful. And because there's so much going on in this game, it's very important. So that is great. So folks, you'll probably be happy to know that you can play this single and multiplayer, which is impressive. A lot of games like this only do one or the other well, But from what I've seen, it's the exact same game one way or another.
Yeah, we try to have it be the same. I believe it's like everything, it's more fun with friends. But we certainly try to have objectives and goals in the single player that you can set for yourself and achieve those. Yeah, but it's not as. What were you going to say?
Yeah, and I really like the missions because I'm primarily a single player person and I love missions, and you guys have some fun. I mean, I've only pretty much done the hauler career so far, but even those missions, like here's one where we're gonna slag on Elite Dangerous a bit because we always do, but one thing I think Elite fails at is. Not only is the gameplay not very exciting, but getting from one place to another isn't very exciting. There's not a lot to it, and it's not very interesting. But with a game like yours or another game like 3030 Death War, where the transit, just getting from one place to another, is active and interesting, it makes it a lot more engaging.
Yeah, actually, we look at all the space games that come out, and we looked at Elite, and our space travel it's kind of similar, but it's sped up. You don't have to wait until the ship reaches X speed. You just hit the button and increase your speed a lot faster.
Which is great. Yeah,
we were thinking about that. Do we keep stuff like that, in most other space sims that have these large travel distances, you have to wait a long time for things, and we just wanted to speed that up.
Which I appreciate, but it's also very active. You're taking a very active role in speeding it up and slowing it down, which I like.
Yeah, because you can overshoot your target.
Oh, so easily. So easily. In Elite, you'll set your throttle and pretty much be done with it. But with this game, folks, the warp is very cool. But with this game, you hit warp and then you upshift, basically. So you upshift to an optimal speed. And the game will actually tell you, you should upshift. It'll show an up arrow and a down arrow when you should upshift and downshift, which is really nice. Again, great usability. And so, it'll tell you with your ETA, you should upshift. And then, the ETA is great. Has anyone ever actually done an ETA where it's like 3 days and just let it go and see if it takes 3 days? Has anyone done that? Because like the ETA will tell you it's going to take 140 days to get to your thing or whatever, and then you gotta like, oh no, up. There's only one other game that does that kind of thing, and that's Rodina. That has a kind of an upshift, downshift mechanic as well.
Yeah, I believe it has like 3 levels or something, right? It doesn't have.
Yeah, exactly. You have the one mechanic with multiple shift levels, basically. Whereas Rodina has like the cruise mode and the warp mode and blah, blah, blah. But it's really fun because like you'll set your course and there's no autopilot. Is there? I haven't seen one. There isn't an autopilot.
There is no autopilot now.
Right. Okay. Which I kind of
the
like.
Only thing that kind of resembles that is the fact that if you're flying towards a planet at maximum warp, the game will automatically start downshifting you to avoid you from flying into the planet.
That's really smart. I think I did that the other day because I wasn't sure where the station I was going to was. I wasn't sure if it was on the other side of the planet or not. So I just went and it popped me out of warp. I'm like, oh, I guess I have to go around the planet. That was nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, people have been asking us to actually remove that though, because they feel like they can do it themselves, and I'm not sure.
Very hesitant.
Yeah,
because we didn't have it in the game at first, and people would continuously fly themselves into the sun, a planet, like became a little bit too dangerous.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You could say that's like a in-universe safety feature of any game with a warp ship, and just like, oh, sorry, it's just a built-in thing. It's a safety mechanism.
Yeah, that's what we say, but yeah. People think they're more skilled than they probably are. So, I don't know.
Video game players. So, folks, one of the best things I'm going to say about this game is its UI. If you're watching on the stream, you'll notice the UI is pretty much entirely in-world, which isn't done very often. Because I'm sure it's complicated as hell. Because you have to render it in-world and make it interactive and make it usable from all these different viewing angles and whatnot. Has that been a challenge, or is that easier than I'm thinking it is?
The biggest challenge is because if you have a thing that renders on a 3D plane instead of on your UI like normal UIs, the thing is that if you get further away, it gets smaller, and when you get up close, it gets bigger. So the amount of data you can actually put into the UI is very limited, because you have to take into account that it's only a part of your screen instead of, and also the rendering isn't as clean as with like text that's just displayed on a square. So it becomes a lot of figuring out which things to display and which things not to display, or just hide them in different menus and stuff like that, because the amount of information you can actually display is very limited.
Right, that makes sense. But it works. It really works. Like it could be so clunky to like have to move around or hit Alt or whatever. The neat thing is, folks, you can do it in 2 ways. Like you could actually look at the button with your view and interact with it, or you can just hold down Alt and have the mouse only view, and it works fine in either way, which is really impressive. But yeah, I can see what you mean. You can't put too much on the screen at once, so there's a decent amount of scrolling, which is fair. You want everything readable.
Yeah,
so it's totally understandable.
Yeah, it's a trade-off we had to make, but we feel like it's way more immersive. It's it's a term you don't really want to use for those kind of things, but it's way more immersive if the screens are like in the world and you can walk up to them and use them. It feels, we wanted to be like every screen in the game had to be like have a functionality. We don't want like buttons on your ship that don't actually do anything.
Which I like, and it still takes a bit getting used to because a lot of space games don't do this. So like, there have been times where I've walked up to the beaming pad like, okay, what am I doing? Oh yeah, the screen is over here. That's what I need to do. Okay, I gotta walk up to the screen. Because a lot of games are like, walk up and hit E to interact, and then boom, menu on your thing. And, that's much more traditional, which is, fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But your method is, again, far more immersive. And it's not a bad word around here, because when it works, it's great. it doesn't. When it doesn't work, it's like, oh god, really?
Yeah.
I see what you were trying to do there, buddy, but come on. But yeah, you guys have made it work, which is really impressive. So there is a lot going on here. So basically, in this game, you can mine, you can haul cargo. There's combat as well. I've not done any of it because I would probably die so fast. But there, so far, and I like this. This is also, I think, a new in the beta. There are 4 career paths you can take when you start a game or when you join a game.
Yeah, they kind of correspond with the play style you want to do. It's something we've been trying to see if people who want to play a certain way actually go to that play style. But most of the time, most players actually want to play everything, so it doesn't really matter where they start off, and they'll end up doing everything anyway. But we kind of like use it as an introduction to the game, like, hey, if you want to fight, use this faction, or if you want to mine, use this faction.
Right, and I like
so
that.
That's kind of how those are set up.
Yeah, I really like that because I'm in games like this. I'm much more of I'm usually a cargo hauler or a miner. You know, I much prefer games. I much prefer doing that. And so you have one career for each, basically. But you can do mining if you take the hauling career, for example, which is really nice.
Yeah, it's good that it doesn't lock you into just one play style.
Yeah, that's kind of what we did when we started working on the game. Something we really wanted to make sure of is that you're not locked into one career path or whatever. Like you can do anything you want. That's also why the game doesn't really have like player classes, because you could easily like add stuff like, oh, okay, this if you start this way, you're the engineer, you can repair, you have skills regarding that. We didn't want any of that. We basically wanted the players to be able to switch careers or like switch the way they play anytime they want. So you may start off as a miner, but then in the end you might think, oh, I don't really like mining. Why not try combat? And then you can just rebuild your ship into a combat ship.
Yeah, also I think one of the factors there is that if you traditionally in games where you have to pick classes, there's a lot of standing around and waiting for your class to be useful. Like if you're an engineer and there's nothing broken on the ship, you don't have anything to do. So we didn't want that. We want you to be able to like do everything. So we don't have to wait for a specific role to become active.
Totally fair.
Which I like. Now, I've not seen any. I've only got like 5 or 6 hours into the game, so I've not seen really any of the crew aspect. But especially in multiplayer, what can what can different crew members do on the ship? Like,
if you get into multiplayer, it's usually very useful to have a crew member man the mining equipment, and one crew member be in the cockpit and scan for asteroids. So that's like a thing we split up. Like if you put sensors on your ship, you can see in an asteroid field where the good asteroids are, and you can point the ship towards that. And then someone in the mining hold has to like mine the resources and transfer them around on the ship. And also, if you have turrets on your ship where you can sit in, like those do extra damage. So if you have crew members to fight like the tougher AI enemies that are in the game, it's really useful to have people man those turrets and fight for you.
Oh, that's pretty great. Because yeah, like games that like have multi-crew can be really, again, hit or miss as to making everyone feel like they have an active role. So that is really great.
It's very hard to get that right from personal experience.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
we feel like it's actually like almost impossible to get it right, so we don't attempt to do the crew aspect as in this is mechanics that everybody needs to do, but more like just create enough chaos when you're in a battle that everybody has to do something.
Yeah,
that's great. That's great. Like put people in situations where you need multiple people on a ship.
Yeah.
No, that's
well, it's
great.
more efficient. You can also do it on your own, but it takes a while to run all the way across the ship and stuff like that. So,
especially if you have a bigger ship.
Yeah,
it's kind of one of the I don't know, philosophies I guess we started off with. Like, the bigger your ship, the more crew you need. So
that makes sense. And
Yeah.
in single player, you can hire AI crew. Am I remembering that correctly?
No,
No, you can only hire protection. You can hire drones to safeguard your ship.
Oh, okay. I saw the crew management thing there, and I guess I just assumed. Will that be something you can do in the future in single player?
AI is something that's really hard for us to do because the ships are self-built.
Oh.
So we can't take into account what people are going to place anywhere. So the AI would probably just break in most.
Wouldn't be able to path anywhere.
Yeah, that's the issue.
On pathing. Yeah,
the pathing would be a real big issue. So that's why we haven't done that.
Yeah, we'd love to have it though, but it's a really hard problem. And
yeah, the crew menu you saw is probably just the multiplayer crew menu, where you can give people access to your crew vault and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool though. I mean, if you're playing single player, you're playing single player. Like seriously, it is just you, which I'm fine with.
There's some robots and Skrill around, but there's no other NPCs at the moment now.
Is that something you're planning to add? Because I noticed at least with playing single player, that the stations were pretty sparse. Is that something you're planning to add? Like maybe just NPCs walking around, on the stations or something? Or NPC ships?
We're not sure yet. If we do NPCs, we want it to be robots and stuff like that. And NPC ships is something we're looking into.
Yeah.
But still, it's still a pathing issue for us. So we're not sure how, because the server is already pretty loaded with calculating all the ship systems and stuff like that. So adding AI on board of the ships on top of that is a technical issue.
Right, because these systems, all the universe is procedural, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, it is.
So you have
it's general.
Right, so you have all those different objects and ships and asteroids and stations. Yeah, I can imagine adding AI to that would be complicated.
Yeah, we can do a lot of with AI in space, like have things move in space, like drones and enemies and AI ships, for example. But on board of the ship, it becomes a whole different issue.
Now that makes sense. Maybe you can have like computer assistants, like you can buy an upgrade to your computer where it can help you be more effective at certain things. Maybe something like that. I don't know.
I mean, we do have some automation systems.
Oh, good.
So, for example, you can buy what we call an actor or an automated cargo transfer relay that you can insert like cartridges into it, and you put heat sinks into it, and it'll automatically teleport cargo around your ship. For example, if you're mining stuff, it'll automatically teleport the stuff you're mining from the exit hopper of the mining equipment straight to your cargo bay. Or a lot of the devices nowadays, they also have a cartridge slot in which you can put an automation cartridge. So these will, for example, if you put a automation cartridge into a mining into a harvester, it will automatically teleport the asteroids aboard that have the resources that you tell it to get.
Oh my god.
So you could like make an entire Rube Goldberg machine where like you take something from the mining equipment, and then it automatically teleports it into the refinery, and then the refinery starts automatically refining the equipment, and then the stuff from that like teleports back will be teleported from the exit hopper of the refinery into your cargo bay or straight into your fuel tanks. Or like you could even like have it do it in such a way that it'll if you could have it teleport from the refinery into an assembling machine. Assembling machine will then make weapons or ammo, and then the ammo will automatically be teleported into your ammo loaders on your ship. So yeah.
Wow.
You can make an entire like machine that way.
Yeah, you can automate pretty much everything. There's a couple of things you can't do, but
yeah, you can't automate like what's it called? you can't automate the teleported the heat sinks in the.
Oh yeah, you can't automate the actors itself.
No,
that's something you have to do.
So heat sinks. What is that all about? Like, do things generate heat and you have to bleed off the heat at certain? I've not interacted with this.
Certain devices, usually higher tier devices, use heat sinks to get rid of excess heat. Like the nuclear reactor uses them. There's a cloaking device that uses them. There's a station shield that uses them, and they're basically a way for us to have a resource that's depletable that you have to refresh every so often.
Oh, okay.
So you can't run your cloaking device indefinitely. You still need to be able to bleed off the heat, otherwise bad things will happen.
Yep.
Pretty much, yeah.
Actors, for example, will just break down and you have to repair them if they don't have heat sinks and stuff inserted to them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we do have plans for a more complicated heat mechanic. It actually takes the entire heat of your entire ship into account, but that's
holy God.
It's only partially implemented.
Holy cats.
So in theory, you could, with a large enough ship and large enough crew, effectively have a mobile factory.
Yes.
I mean, literally, yeah. You could, with just enough automation, enough heat sinks, and enough resources to get the thing kickstarted, it could effectively manufacture everything it needs by itself.
Yes, and there's also the one of the very high tiers equipment things. There is a drone bay where you can construct your own drone. It can have a mining laser, or it can have guns or cargo pods, and you can give it like objectives to complete. You can say, "Hey, go out there and mine this resource for me," and it'll go out and mine it and come back. Or it can protect your ship. It can set up like a trade route where it goes out and it tries to deliver resources to a specific station, stuff like that. So there's plenty of stuff to do if you get into the late game.
Now, one thing I'll be honest I haven't toyed with is the editor, which is a big part of the game, but I'm terrible at building ships, so I didn't really play with it too much. But I did notice on the workshop there are already hundreds of ships available.
Yeah, there's people have built ships for every like purpose that you might need. Like if you want a miner or a fighter or a frigate or something like that, you can just go to the workshop and download it there. If you don't want to design them yourselves, of course.
Yeah, which I appreciate. Spaz, did you see there is a Defiant in there already? Yeah,
indeed.
we're huge fans of the Defiant from D Space. Huge fans of the Defiant from D Space Nine. So
it's also one of my favorite Star Trek ships.
Damn right. And so
I do probably have a less popular opinion though, because Voyager is my favorite Star Trek series.
Yeah, you're probably in the minority.
Yeah, I know.
Though I admit I have not seen all of Voyager, but I will at some point. But I noped out around the beginning of season 2. When it was still
okay.
on.
Well, it gets better after season 3. So
really,
no, I'll say
in my opinion,
I'll say that they had the weakest writing. So I don't necessarily blame the actors for that. I'd say they had the weakest writing overall for Voyager, but I don't hate the series. I think it's just the weakest of them.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's the first Star Trek series I watched, so it's.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
It's the nostalgia goggles.
Yeah, pretty much.
And a little, yeah, I can certainly understand that. If that's what you started with, like I started with the original series and then watched the animated series and then Next Gen, and from there on out. So for me, there's a little bit of a difference in the nostalgia factor, but I can certainly see how if that was your first, that's going to be what sticks with you.
It's kind of funny how you say Voyager is the weakest writing, having seen the animated series, because the animated series actually has really great writing in a lot of episodes. A lot of people forget that, but the animated series has some damn great episodes. Damn great.
Well, I say overall though too.
Yeah.
Because there are some good things with Voyager that they did, and I'd say that a lot of the actors did an amazing job, but at the same time, consistency in the writing, because it was more episodic than say DS9, that had that.
How did
I would say they lacked consistency because they couldn't do that long arc that they had in DS9.
Which makes no sense because they're 70 years from home. That you'd think the whole thing would be a long arc, but I don't know.
Sure, but then they moved on. Then the next sector, they're no longer where they were before. Yeah. So
everything's fine. Ensign Kim is still an ensign, always an ensign, and ensign forever. Poor Kim, just never promoted, ever.
Poor Harry.
Poor Harry. I bet you there's a Voyager in there too. Is there a Voyager? I haven't seen it, but is there a Voyager in there? In the workshop?
I believe somebody made a Voyager shell, but there's no actual functional ship.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because your editor is really detailed. Like it's almost an entire game in and of itself because there are multiple levels to building the ships. There's like there are three levels, if I'm remembering correctly, right? Am I remembering?
There's you mean the modes, right? You have the interior mode where you build the walls and the rooms and stuff.
Yes, exactly.
And then there's the prop mode for interior, like benches and captain's chairs and stuff like that. And then there's the exterior of your ship, which is a separate thing.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, which is kind of neat because a lot of places, the room editor and the prop editor are the exact same thing. And I like how you've separated that out. It helps you focus a bit, I think.
Yeah, part of the editor was we were looking at like block building games, like Minecraft was big at the time when we started, and I think Space Engineers was just coming out on early access or something like that.
Yeah, well, they weren't out before we started, but
yeah, and we found that in those games, if you have combat with those ships where the blocks can break off, it kind of breaks the design of the ship a lot of times. So those games are not really made to fight other things. So one of the things we said was, okay, your ship has to be a thing that cannot break up, and it has to have a hull that's like one thing where you have a hull health bar. So when you do go into combat, it's not an issue of, oh no, they actually like tore my ship in half and now nothing works anymore, but oh, these systems are broken, I need to repair these systems and stuff like that.
Yeah, we wanted it to feel more like Star Trek, where you rarely see the entire ship being torn apart or anything. Like It's always, oh, these systems are overloaded, this system is broken, and then you just go and repair it.
Yep,
that's more. But the overall look of the ship stays intact. That's kind of what we wanted to maintain. We do kind of want to add like damage and stuff, but like you don't want like, okay, the port nacelle is now completely separated from the ship, and well, we're screwed.
Well, doing sliceables is kind of hard with custom ships like that, because you would then have to decide how are you going to do the slicing.
Exactly.
And
works.
that can be very complicated.
Yeah, it works for a pure 2D game, like a lot of games that are just top-down 2D games, like Reassembly or Boss Constructor. Yeah, it's easy to slice bits off because they're just top-down, graphics. But with a 3D game like this, I can only imagine how much more complicated that becomes.
Yeah, there's also the thing that if your ship blows up and it's like a custom-built ship, it's not really fun to build it again. So we just allow you to get the blueprint back or just repair the ship.
Which is really nice.
So you don't. And for the editor, it's basically The Sims, but for spaceships. That's kind of what our thoughts going into it was. Like, we want you to build the ship like you build a house in The Sims, but then it's your spaceship.
Oh, that makes sense. So with multiplayer, I have a couple of questions because I've not done multiplayer. Can anyone run a server, or are there just official servers? Like, how does the server system work?
We run 2 test servers, but those are just basically test servers for us to test things and performance issues and stuff like that. The idea is that just like with Minecraft or other games, you run your own server. So you set up your own community and stuff like that.
And how many players can a server support at the moment?
At the moment, not that many. We were aiming for 64 players, but we've added so much things to the game that over time that number went down and down. So I believe it's between 5 and 10 at the moment. because we have to simulate multiple systems and stuff like that. But we wanted to go back up to higher player counts. So that's what we're primarily working on at the moment.
I mean, you're not an MMO. I mean, it makes sense to have like not a ton of people because there's so many, like you said, there's so many things going on. So many things going on in this game. That I can't imagine you have like...
We'd like to have, I think, somewhere in the, like, around a 20, somewhere between 20 and 30 would be an ideal number, I think, at this point.
Okay. Yeah, it's not as much...
As an endpoint, do you mean?
Yeah, the thing is, it's not as much how much players can we support, it's how many star systems can we support. And the more players you have, the more they tend to go out into different star systems.
That's very true.
Yeah. So
very true.
Would that be an instancing issue then?
It's basically just an issue of, oh my god, the CPU can't handle it anymore because you're running simulations on everything.
Oh god.
And as long as you do it in one star system, it's okay. But as soon as you have multiple, it kind of linearly like stacks up. So
that makes sense.
So we're trying to bring that down.
Can you limit, like on a server, can you limit the amount of systems? Like this server only has 10 systems. That's it.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, that's good.
You can limit the light years you can go away from the spawn area.
Oh, that's okay. That's pretty cool. That way you keep things still flexible, but also usable.
Yeah. 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 The thing is, people build up these systems. So all the system events, as we call them, are built around players going into a system, and for these different companies that we have, build up stations for them and like expand out. And you get like new resources and stuff if you build those stations because they produce stuff. But
so I was going to ask, is that what the AI is doing as you're playing? They're like, we see new business opportunities in this system, so we're going to build a new station, and we need you to bring us the resources to build this station, and we'll pay you.
That's basically a system where we check every so often and add new events to the system, like build a station, defend this, scout this area, and then the AI itself is the drones that fly around and stuff like that. They try to get the resources that the production stations need to build new things for you to buy in the stores and stuff like that. So if you, even in the starter systems, like I believe you started at Hurlsco, if I'm correct, the mining faction.
Yeah. I know I started with the hauling faction.
Oh, with GT. Then the drones there will try to find good trades so that the stores are filled up and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even notice there were drones. I didn't even notice that. I just saw, I just remember like the turrets around the stations, but I don't remember drones. Are they just off doing their own thing? Like
yeah, you can see them by the little lens flares if they warp around. And if they're close to a station, you can actually also see the drones, but they're very small in comparison to space.
Well, yeah. So I didn't know ships could do their own mining, because I've only done it on the stations. So is it like the same thing where you have like a bay where you go down, you have that the screen where you choose the asteroid and you hoover it in and blah blah? Is that the same, just on a larger ship?
Yeah, the stations have the same equipment that you can build, and as soon as there's no player on board of that station, if it's a generated station, so it's not built by a player like a custom ship, it will use that equipment to actually mine things and refine them and make them available for purchasing.
Oh wow! But I mean, but you can also have a ship that you do that yourself. You go out to an asteroid field.
Yeah. You can even set up stores on your ship that the drones will come and purchase things from.
Yep. Or other players.
Oh really?
Yep.
So you can be like
That's
mobile.
Cool.
You can be like a mobile store, basically.
If you want, yeah.
Oh my god, that's you never hear anyone doing that. That's great. Like, you never hear of a game that allows you to become the wandering merchant. You know?
We've had players complain about the drones buying stuff because they use the stores to teleport resources from their ship to another ship by just purchasing them for like 0. But then the drones were like, hey, that's a good deal. We'll buy those resources from you. So they came by and they just bought the entire stock.
But they're just doing their job. I mean, you can't be mad at them for doing their job.
It's the Ferengi thing to do.
It really is. And now another thing I really like about your game is the piloting. We talked about the transit a bit, but I also want to talk about the ship piloting because, you know, in a game with so much going on, it's easy to mess one thing up, and piloting could be such an easy thing to mess up, you know. But every ship I've flown in your game, I've only flown a few so far, but they just feel right. They feel sluggish. They feel, you know, like they take time to start and stop, and it's just really, like, it doesn't feel fully Newtonian. Is it fully Newtonian? It doesn't feel fully Newtonian, but
it is in the background. We cheated a bit for the input.
Oh,
so
okay.
if you put the throttle on max and you cut the throttle, you would say, like, if it's fully Newtonian, should keep going, right? And that's what happens, except we give it some fake thrust from the other side to slow it down again, just to give you the Star Wars feel of flying a ship.
No, that's totally fair. Yeah,
it is Newtonian, but we cheat the values a bit if you loosen up on the throttle and stuff like that.
No, that's fair. Yeah. One of my favorite games is an old MMO called Jumpgate, where they also cheated with the Newtonian physics. So it's like it's got mostly Newtonian physics, but there's drag for some reason. So you will slow down. Like what?
Yeah.
So yeah, it sounds.
Yeah, so it's not actual drag; it's just reverse thrusting, but you don't see that. But yeah,
which is fair. I mean, you think in space, you know, if the ship knows you want to slow down to a stop, it would help you with that. So that makes sense. From even a
we feel like people have been asking for fully Newtonian flight models, and it's something we can add. But we feel like it complicates the flying of your ship to such a degree.
It really does. That's why there are honestly so few games with it, because it just makes it that much more complicated. Like there's the iWar games and Star Shatter. Yeah, what other games have full Newtonian?
I think Kerbal Space Program might have.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. Of course. But that's also, again, that's a fairly complicated game. And you want, you want accessibility, you know? So.
Well, if you don't put any thrusters or engines on your ship in our game, it's still just like a box of physics. And if you give it a little, like, punch, it'll just drift off forever.
Yeah. Like, if you're not careful, like, you could bump like a station or whatever to such a degree that it just goes faster than the maximum speed of a ship, so you'll never be able to catch it. Yeah,
because ships are arbitrarily limited to like larger ships have lower movement speed and stuff like that, just to give them the feel of.
Yeah, the fastest a ship in our game can go is 500 meters per second. That is artificially limited, so we could actually balance them and actually make combat a bit more functional. Because before we had unlimited, and like people were going like 1400 meters per second, and there's one ship that like maybe couldn't go faster than like 140. So they have another ship that's 10 times faster. It shoots, it flies off. The other ship won't be able to shoot back because it's already out of weapon range. So yeah, we had to artificially limit this so we could actually make make combat more interesting.
It makes sense because like if you don't, you have a game like Elite Frontier 2 where you're just jousting and flying a bit, and flying. You're just like zoom, 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 zoom. It's like that's not fun.
No, it's also a technical thing because physics engines, they can't really handle a ship moving at 10 kilometers a second, just moving through an asteroid field. The asteroids don't even know what hits them.
Oh, we have a question from Twitch. Can you make the UI smaller because it takes up so much of the screen?
Oh, the flight UI probably. There is a slider for that.
Oh, really?
In the options menu. But I believe you have to exit out of the game and go back into it to actually make it apply. It's one of those.
Oh, do you mean like the targeting ring, like where the targets are on the ring around the center of the HUD? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, also all the icons in the flight HUD and stuff like that. If he's talking about the UI, like the mission UI and stuff like that, I'm not sure if there's a slider for that, but we should add it before we release the game. So
yeah, you want to have like a bit of UI scaling, like because I just upgraded to a 1440p monitor, which is wonderful, but I can't play Distant Worlds Universe anymore, really, because the UI is just so small.
No, we've had people complain like, I've got a 4K monitor and like your UI is all over the place, it's so big, or it's too small, and we're like, okay, it's just something you have to. When we started building the game in 2012, 4K was not really a thing, so
yeah,
you just have to adapt as new technologies become available.
No, that's fair. I mean, so far I've had no issues with your UI. Actually, I kind of love that targeting ring in your UI, in the flight UI. It's like, this is what's around you. Point your ship to it and target it. It's great. It's really great. The guy who was asking. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, the guy who was the guy who was asking about the UI has a 3440 by 1440p monitor. That's, I didn't know
it's
that
like
was
a widescreen monitor.
That's a crazy widescreen monitor. That's a weird resolution, isn't it? That's not a usual. Is that a usual resolution? Is that a normal one?
It's not one of the most common ones.
Yeah. It's like total super. That's like when you use a program to like split that wide ass monitor into like 3 separate virtual monitors because it's just too big. Oh my lord. How big is that monitor? That's just. Sorry, I'm asking the guy on Twitch. What?
Yeah.
Nash fan. Sorry, how big is that monitor? Like, how many inches are we talking about, buddy? Sorry, what were we about to say?
I was going to say that's just a part of the early access process. We still have to add some options here and there to make the game. I'm not saying playable on every resolution, but some things don't scale well yet and stuff like that.
Sure, well, that makes sense. Oh, 34 inches. Damn.
That's big.
That's big. I wanted to get a monitor that big, but I have a small desk, and so I did the measurement, and it's like I could barely put anything else on this desk if I got a 34-inch ultra wide, and I wouldn't be able to center it either because it's a weird desk. There's a bookshelf on one side, so it's like I'd have to be at an angle to look at the center of the monitor because it would be just that big.
Just use the left half and then disregard the rest.
Oh God, right? Oh my God, like that sounds like an awesome monitor, dude. But yeah, it sounds like they're gonna do some UI scaling, buddy. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, the game should just work fine on every resolution, but some things might be bigger or smaller depending on, especially when you go into the widescreen monitors. Because they have a weird aspect ratio, and that some things are calculated on aspect ratio. So whatever, it's technical. But
he's saying your game looks pretty good on his monitor. I think his only issue is with the UI. I mean, this monitor is a 27-inch, the one I'm using, and yeah, your game is really. I mean, it wasn't this pretty when it started, but you guys have made it really, really pretty, and there's a lot of graphical flourishes too that you've added. Like, one of my favorite little things is when you have that repair gun and you have to reload it, and so you have that whole ka-ching, which is a great sound, that go ka-ching reloading animation, which only takes like a second, but it looks so great. You're like, yeah, new ammo, cling, great.
Thank you. Put a lot of effort into that.
Oh, I really like that. It's like, yeah, I've got a big drill. Ka-ching. It's great.
Yeah, it's a custom game engine, so we don't have all the new latest rendering techniques, so we have to make up in like other areas where we just add more animations and stuff like that.
Oh, I was gonna ask about that. Did you make
this the biggest thing we have is like the biggest animation project we've had in the game is the drone construction.
Oh.
If you like how it's made, then
yeah,
that's
I'll have to figure out how to make some drones because
it completely constructs a drone. It's like a factory you can place on your ship.
Yeah, and then like arms come out of the ceiling, and it starts assembling it, and you can walk around while it's doing that, and it's took a lot of effort, but I think it's pretty. I think that's one of the more unique animation things we have in a game. I also understand now why a lot of other big name titles don't do that kind of animation, because every time you want to add like, I don't know, you want to balance stuff and like you add a new component to the drone, you're gonna have to make a new animation that puts those objects onto the drone again, and it's a nightmare to manage. I can tell you that much.
Oh, jeez. So wait, which is it? An engine you guys built, or which engine is this game running
out?
I don't know. Hello?
Can you hear me?
No, we're still here.
Okay.
Sometimes Discord
just went silent. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes Discord gets funky,
I can see the thing lighting up. But...
Sometimes Discord gets funky, especially. No. Can you guys not hear us?
Yeah. For some reason, we're not hearing Brian.
Whoa! Can you hear me now?
Did he break his microphone?
La 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 la.
I'm not sure.
La 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 la.
Press the wrong button.
Oh no!
No, I can see he's lighting up, so he is talking. We just can't hear him on Discord.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That's weird.
That is weird. I didn't do anything.
He can probably hear us though.
This is so weird. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me? No, you can't hear me? Okay, 1 second.
What are we talking about?
Just talking about the animations and flourishes and stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing. If you have a custom game engine and you can't use all the effects in what Unity offers or Unreal at the moment, we have to like run with other things. So we try to make the graphics very clean and not have a lot of things in the way, like no post-process effects and stuff like that, because we just don't have them in the engine. So it's all down to geometry and art, basically.
La 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 la. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? La la la.
That's understandable.
La 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 la. Why? Hang on, I'll be right. Oh,
and we still can't hear Brian.
Oh no.
He's obviously trying to speak.
Can you hear me now? Oh, can you hear me now? Now?
Yeah, we still cannot hear you, Brian, unfortunately.
What is... How about now?
It's probably a typical Discord thing where it suddenly just gives up.
Can you guys on the stream hear me? Can you guys hear me on the stream?
Well, they can hear us on the stream.
Can you hear me on the stream?
Brian can hear us. We just can't hear him.
Can you hear me on the stream?
Yeah, he's completely silent.
Oh my god. What the shit? Okay, hang on. What is happening?
That's weird.
It's very weird. It's very weird.
Maybe we have to leave the room and come back?
I guess we can try.
All right, I'll give that a try.
Hello? Nope, still can't hear anything.
Hey.
Yeah, I can hear you guys just fine, but...
Okay, apparently... Can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Okay, apparently the folks on the Twitch, the folks on the stream could hear me and all of us, but only you guys couldn't hear me. I don't know what happened. I switched servers on Discord.
And that fixed it.
That seemed to fix it. I'm sorry. We have never had that happen. We have never... We've had, like, people go robotic. We've had people get cut off, but we have never just had a person just get muted. Like, even though, yeah, I could see my thing light up.
and we could see it, and we could hear each other. We just could not hear you.
So freaking weird. But hey, I guess server issue. Thank God. So I was going to ask, which engine are you using for this game? You said it was a custom engine. Is it one you built, or is it something Is it a pre-built
No,
one?
it's one we built. Yeah, it's completely
wow.
from the ground up. Basically built for this game to do stuff in it.
Yep.
We used to have even a different version of this engine, but that couldn't really give us the speed to work with because it's just a very small team, so we need to have very very fast iteration time. So we can't actually having a very small engine is really useful in that regard.
Yeah, it's not like
but
we
that
have
means
to wait like days or like half a day or whatever to see whether or not some code changes actually worked or whatever.
Yeah, but one of the downsides, of course, is that you don't have all the tools available. So we're missing a lot of things that newer engines have.
Well, I mean, I think it's understandable because your game has more going on than other games. So, like, you're already out Star Citizen in a lot of ways. So, I mean, but you use and you're not even trying to use Crytek or whatever engine that isn't made for this sort of thing.
No, I mean, part of the reason is also because when we started out, there was no Unity or Unreal. I mean, there was Unity, but it wasn't as advanced as it is now, and Unreal was not publicly available. So
that's true.
I mean, we had UDK at the time.
Yes, but that was really rigid and not really meant to deal with large spaces and stuff like that. Because when you do a space game, you have to rework basically every engine to work with the distances and stuff that you're trying to do. I mean, even Star Citizen has to rework Lumberyard completely to do the things they're doing. So,
God. Anyway, so you guys have been in early access for a while. How much longer do you envision you'll be in early access?
We're hoping to release somewhere early next year.
Oh, wow.
So it'll be a 1.0 release.
And
it's been.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say it's been a while.
It has been a while. But you guys have had a really good, and I meant to bring this up earlier, you guys have had a really active and positive early access period, from what I've seen at least, because you guys have been very open and transparent, lots of patch notes, lots of dev blogs. Have you found that early access has worked well for you?
I'd say so. It's a game that lends itself very well for early access. It doesn't have a story or narrative that you can spoil.
That's a good point.
Add extra gameplay and stuff like that. I think the best early access games are always games that can offer something new every couple of weeks, so you can keep invested in them. And these kind of games work very well. If you have a very limited game where limited is the wrong word, but if you have like a platformer or something, once you've played through the game once, all the changes that developers are going to make to improve the game are not really relevant anymore for you because you've already played the game. But these kind of games offer new things every couple of weeks, so it works really well. Also, you get the feedback on previous updates and stuff, and you can change things around.
Right. So yeah, no, that's soon. No, that's great, because you're right, it has been a while. But your game is competitively priced. It's not super expensive like some other early access games. And there's just so much to it, and yet everything is so effective and everything is so efficient, which is really impressive.
Thank you.
So impressive. We do need to start wrapping up, so I'll just say, folks, the game is Interstellar Rift. It is, today is the last day of the autumn sale, I think, right?
It's 50% off. So
right. As we're recording this right now, it is 50% off. That means it's what, $10? I think.
Not sure. Might be.
Let me see real quick.
Along those lines.
Real quick. It is $9.49. So roughly $10. But even at its usual price of $18.99, that is a really that's impulse buy territory for at least me. And so this is definitely a game to own, you guys. There's a lot here. I mean, if you want to edit ships, the editor is really impressive. If you want to just fly around ships, you got procedurally generated universes to fight or to mine or to haul or all those things. It's a very pretty game. It's very clean, very futuristic. It's got a great UI. There's just a lot to like about this game. So you should definitely check it out. So just a couple of quick notes before we wrap up. This Thursday for our LAN party, we are returning to EDF. Very excited about that. It's going to be, I think it's going to be the first time we're playing EDF with my new machine here. So I'm very excited about that.
I'm up to mission 96. So I've unlocked that far.
We have a lot to do.
Not that we're going to actually go that far, but hey, we have the option.
We have the we're still in the teens, right? We're still in the teens as far as missions go.
We've been bouncing around a bit, but yeah, because we're not playing sequentially. We're just bouncing around as we go through.
Right.
And the whole goal of bouncing around that way is so that Brian actually has some further progress, because it does seem to be affecting his online progress.
It is. It totally is.
Yeah, so whatever weapons he unlocks, he's got more stuff to play with.
Yeah.
I've got the stuff that I've unlocked, and it's been working out pretty well.
By the way, folks, EDF, if you're not aware, had like a stealth price cut a couple of months ago. For the longest time, it was $50. And so you might have looked at it and go, oh, God, $50, that's way too much. But now it's only $20. Normally, it's at $20. So I think even now on sale, it's a little cheaper. It is so worth $20, you guys, if you haven't bought it already. Just playing by yourself, it is kaiju stomping, bug killing fun. Like, seriously, it's so much fun. And next week on the podcast, we're back at our usual time at 5 p.m. Pacific time to talk to Chris Nash over on Twitch. We're talking about Earth Defense Force 4.1, the Shadow of New Despair? Shadow of the New Despair. I always mix the up. It's Shadow of the New Despair, I believe. Which is great. And then next week we're going to be welcoming back Chris Park of Arkin Games to talk AI War 2. Which is which a lot of people are excited about, because that AI War was their biggest game. It's still probably their most popular game. Still one of, a lot of people consider one of the best space RTS games ever made. So we're going to be talking about the much anticipated sequel. So that'll be fun. So folks, thank you so much for listening. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us, taking time out of your afternoon to join us to talk about Interstellar Rift.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Except for the technical issues. Don't know what happened there, folks. Sorry. See, that was a really weird thing that's never happened before. Apologize about that. But, when you do these live, you take risks like that,
Yep.
But everyone, thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Someone on YouTube says, I hope you reach 10,000K soon. At the rate I'm going, it's going to be about 3 years until I reach 10,000 subscribers. It's a small channel. But that's okay. It's very niche, very dedicated. So I'm fine with that. But thank you, everyone, for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time. Have a great one, folks. Bye-bye.